Hola, chicos. Today we are going to talk about our third type of stem changing verb, and that is E to I. So I'd just like to remind you, if you're still having some trouble, I have weekly signups for small groups in study sessions to answer any questions that you may have. So let's go ahead and get started with our stem changing verbs E to I. As all of the others that we've already covered, is that they are different because they have a spelling change in the stem. Our endings are the same for present tense, so you just need to pay attention if it is an AR, ER, or IR verbs to use those same endings. The stem is where the spelling change occurs, and it is only on the stressed vowel. So let's go ahead and remember that these changes are only in the boot. So if I put my conjugation chart over this boot, my changes will only occur in the yo, tú, él, ella, usted, cosa, ellos, ellas, ustedes, cosas conjugation forms. Vamos a empezar con el verbo pedir. Pedir means to ask for. Yo pido su atención. I ask for your attention. Pedir. So the very first step in conjugating any verb is that we drop the ending. So this is an IR verb. We are going to drop that IR. We are then left with PED, ped, which is our stem. However, this is a stem changing verb, and it is an E to I stem changing verb. So we are going to take that E from our stem and change that to I, and we now have pid. Pid. So let's go ahead and start our conjugation chart. So now that we have our new stem, however, there are two things I always want you to remember. When we are working with stem changing verbs, we need to remember the boot in our conjugation chart, that this spelling change will only take place in the boot. And we also need to be very aware of what kind of a verb we have. Is it an AR, ER, or IR verb, so that we make those endings according to what kind of verb we have. So here is our new stem, and here is our boot. Let's go ahead and put the conjugation chart. Second thing we need to remember is that it is an IR verb. So let's go ahead and put in those endings in there, which is o, es, e, imos, is, and en. We're going to go ahead and put in our new stem, PID, which is pid, into those shaded areas. Remember that nosotros and vosotros are not like the others. So we are going to keep our regular stem without any spell changings, and that it will be pedimos, pedís. So here we have a cleaner version. Yo pido, tú pides. Él, ella, usted, cosa, pide. Nosotros, nosotras, pedimos. Vosotras, vosotros, pedís. Ellos, ellas, ustedes, cosas, piden. Here are some sample sentences. Yo pido ayuda con mi tarea. Ayuda means help. ¿Tú pides tus libros en la biblioteca? Mis hermanos piden ir al centro. ¿A qué hora piensas pedir la pizza? So we just need to find our pronoun, which helps us identify which kind of conjugation we use. Yo pido, tú pides, ellos piden. And if we look at the fourth sentence, pedir is left in its infinitive. Why? That's right. Pensar is conjugated right before pedir. So piensas is our first conjugated verb. We leave pedir in infinitive. Here are the 5 verbs that we needed to review this week. They are conseguir, decir, pedir, repetir, and seguir. However, conseguir and seguir have a second spell change that I will go over right now. And our third verb of these 5, which is decir, is in irregular. These important notes only happen in the yo form. So let's go ahead and review those. Let's start with conseguir and seguir. In the yo forms, conseguir and seguir have a second spelling change, okay? That second spelling change simply consists of dropping the U. Let's start with our verb seguir. We go ahead and start by dropping our ending, which is IR. We need to now remember this specific verb has the U dropped. So let's go ahead and drop the U. Our E is then changed to an I, only in the yo form, and we are left with yo sigo. Yo sigo. Let's go ahead and do the same for conseguir. We're going to start by dropping the IR. We need to remember the U is dropped. We then change the E to an I, and we are left with yo consigo. Again, remember that this second spelling change only occurs in the yo form. Moving on to decir. Decir is simply an irregular verb in the yo form. So decir becomes yo digo. Digo la verdad. I say the truth. I tell the truth. Let's go ahead and conjugate all of our 5 verbs for the week in the yo form. Follow along and please repeat after me. Yo consigo. Yo digo. Yo pido. Yo repito. Yo sigo. Please make note that conseguir and seguir have that blue ending because we drop the U in those verbs, and decir is simply an irregular verb. Irregular verbs, remember, have no specific patterns. They are just verbs that you need to memorize. Let's move on to our tú conjugations. Tú consigues. Tú dices. Tú pides. Tú repites. Tú sigues. Good job. Let's go ahead and review our él, ella, usted, cosa conjugations. However, let's make these negative. If you remember when we say that I do not say, or I do not request, or I do not repeat, the no goes before the conjugated verb. Él no consigue. Él no dice. Él no pide. Él no repite. Él no sigue. Good job, guys. So here I'm going to go over the entire conjugation chart. Please follow along and repeat after me. Yo consigo. Tú consigues. Él consigue. Nosotros conseguimos. Vosotros conseguís. Ellos consiguen. Decir. Yo digo. Tú dices. Él dice. Nosotros decimos. Vosotros decís. Ellos dicen. Pedir. Yo pido. Tú pides. Él pide. Nosotros pedimos. vosotros pedís, ellos piden. Yo repito, tú repites. Él repite, nosotros repetimos, vosotros repetís, ellos repiten. Yo sigo, tú sigues, él sigue, nosotros seguimos, vosotros seguís, and ellos siguen. Muy bien, chicos, fabuloso.